Okay, so I'm going to, again, welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here. We're welcoming Mary Carlson to give us a fabulous presentation on using AI for GED prep. And with no further ado, welcome, Mary. Thank you so much. I'm passing the baton to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Marie, and thank you for helping me put this together. So my name is Mary Carlson, and I work for RIRAL, which is in Woonsocket. I'm the digital literacy specialist here, and so I teach different computer and technology literacy workshops, and I help our students use technology in different ways to achieve their goals. I'm also a graduate student at UMass Boston, which is where the Paul English AI Institute for Teaching and Learning is located. I went to a seminar there a few weeks ago that was just fabulous. It helped to inspire this presentation today. I've also been using AI with our students to help them get ready to take the GED and create different study materials. It's got a lot of potential, as I think you'll see. What you're looking at right now is a website that I built in Google Sites, which is part of Google Workspace. I thought that would be a good medium for us to use today, partly because it will live on and you all can bookmark it and come back to it whenever you'd like, and also because the tools that we're going to be using do live on the internet, and so we'll be toggling back and forth between the site and the different tools that we're going to use ourselves today. So our learning goal right here in our introduction is to look at a variety of AI tools and to see how we can teach our students to use them to prepare for the GED. We're going to look at creating practice questions, individual tutoring using the AI, doing research, and creating study guides. And then we're going to look at these two websites at the beginning just to get an overview for what's out there and how to use AI. And then below that, I have a list of resources that we're not going to have time to get into today, but that will live on and everyone can come back and explore them later on. I do have a link to ISTE, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. That's the International Society for Technology and Education. And then also the Paul English Institute at UMass Boston that I mentioned, and MIT's AI Technology and Education Hub. And then down here is me. You can always shoot me an email or give me a call if you have any questions or comments about this that come up later on. I do just want to say right off the bat that some of the tools that we're using do require you to log in. If you don't have an account already, they might ask you for your phone number or for your email address. If you don't want to give those things out because that's what AI does. It gathers information on all of us. You can feel free to use right here at the top of the resource list, ChatGPT. It will let you use it in guest mode, and so you won't have to log in or give it any information. So the tools that I've chosen 4 that we're going to use today. We're going to use Perplexity, Claude, ThetaWise, and Google Notebook LM. I chose one for each of the 4 content areas of the GED. I kind of lined it up by what their specialty is. But ChatGPT is just an all-purpose AI. You can use it for anything, and it's actually an interesting exercise to kind of scramble what you use and what you use it for and see what different results you get. So our first stop is to check out the AI Explorer. I'm clicking it right here under Activities. I'm going to just show it to you for a couple minutes up front, and then everyone will be able to click on it. Marie's putting a link to our fabulous website in the chat, so you'll be able to open it in your own browser. So this here is the AI Explorer. It's an online directory of AI tools. There are about 5,000 different AIs listed here, and they're organized by category. in terms of what you would use them for. So there are ones that are chatbots, ones that create images, ones that translate voice into text, all kinds of different goals that we might have for our AI. And then they're also ranked by popularity. And so if any of you have ever used Reddit, you know that if you click on a post, it rises in popularity. And if no one clicks on it, then it sinks. And this is operates in the same way. One of the areas of the AI Explorer that you might be most interested in is here, all of the AI tools that are geared towards education. And so I'm sure back on our opening page, you probably noticed some AIs that you're familiar with. There's Microsoft's Copilot, there's Google's Gemini, there's ChatGPT, there's Grok, all of the famous ones. And then here we have a bunch of AI tools that are geared towards education. We're going to be using Perplexity today. And then there are programs that have AI built in, like Coursera, Quizlet is on here, and so on and so on. So why don't we all, at this time, click on the link in the chat, open up the website, and then click, again, right here under Activities, and go to the AI Explorer, and then let's all just poke around for 2 minutes, and we'll come back together and just discuss what we've noticed. If you have any comments in the meantime, you can certainly pipe up and let me know what you see. Just so you know, this is a for-profit site. It works kind of like Google in the sense that if you pay these folks a little premium, you can have your AI tool featured on the front page. So it's mostly objective, but not entirely. They're based in Belgium, these people. They also have this great page on tutorials where they have lots of videos that the people who make the different AI tools have contributed about how you can use their different tools. We'll just give it one more minute, and then if anyone has questions or comments, we can discuss what you saw. All right, why don't we come back together? Does anyone have any comments or questions?
One thing that I liked was there was a section that talks about AI detection. Sorry, I'm looking at it here.
Yes.
And I like the deepfake detector as well as a few things. I feel like a lot of AI can be a lot of like really overwhelming to people, but also seeing resources that also maybe detect areas where people have maybe using it in maybe not so honest ways, I think is a valuable thing to potentially have as a resource. So that's interesting too.
It's interesting that you would mention that because one of the tools I had never seen before that popped out of me this afternoon when I was looking at it is an AI tool whose purpose is to help students evade AI detection. which is trending. So it's like the AI is kind of competing with itself, to fool itself. And yeah, it's interesting. I mean, at UMass, they require us to submit a statement of AI usage on every assignment that we turn in, but it's kind of on the honor system because honestly, even though they say that you can check for it, and sometimes students will turn something in, it will say created with ChatGPT at the bottom of whatever. But assuming that you're clever enough to evade that, I mean, there really isn't any way that you can tell whether something was written by AI or not. So, but it keeps getting smarter. All right, so our second stop right here
Uh,
is to,
one second in the
yes.
chat, and then
Oh,
I think Marianne Hill has her hand up. But Andrea in the chat, this is a great resource. Using it with other resources would be great, would be a great opportunity with current technology.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how AI fits itself into your work process. And also, one of the things that AI is great for is talking to computer programs. And so programmers are using it to create APIs that can make the computer programs you already have do other things and talk to each other and stuff. So yeah, it's really amazing. So our second stop here is going to be Harvard's guide to prompt engineering. So if we want to use AI, we have to be able to tell it what we want it to do. And there are specific ways of doing this. I know that we've all used search tools like Google, so we know how different search terms will produce very different search results. AI is the same way. You have to know how to create the correct prompts in order to get the AI tool to do what you want it to do. And this top rule here is that you need to be specific. And so we're going to see as we use these AI tools to create GED resources for our students that there's a big difference between saying, hey, just create some practice questions versus please give me 3 practice questions that are multiple choice. Please don't give me the answer up ahead of time, that type of thing. You can really get a very different result if you're specific in your prompting. And then also, you have to tell the AI how you want it to act, what tone you want it to use. In our case, we're going to specifically tell it that we are preparing to take the GED exam. I mean, the fact that we're instructors is beside the point because we wanted to create resources that our students could use. So the students will have to tell it that they're preparing for the GED exam. The questions that they might get would be very different if they were preparing for like the AP history exam or the GRE, or if they were just curious about history or science in general. And then again, we're going to tell it whether we want multiple choice questions and we want open-ended questions. One of the things that we use AI for here at RIRAL is to help students improve their writing. And so sometimes we'll ask it, just create a writing prompt, and then I will write an essay and give it back to the AI. The AI will give feedback. And then again, you don't have to talk to it like it's a person. You can just say, do this, don't do that. You can feed into it examples. One of the most clever uses of AI that I have had presented to me is someone who writes a blog, and he fed like 5 years of his blog posts into the AI, and it picked up on references that he typically makes and colloquialisms that he uses, and it learned to write just like he writes, which was just absolutely amazing. And then tone and audience is more if you're writing an email, building up previous prompts. On the free version of these AI tools, it will save some of your prompting. If you really like an AI tool and you become a heavy user, you might want to upgrade to a pro plan, and then it will save all of your prompts, and then it really starts to
Uh-oh.
an output that you're not too happy with. You can with it and go back and forth and have it correct whatever it's given to you, and refine is really a better word. All right, so we're going to move on now to our first tool, which is Perplexity. Has anyone ever used Perplexity before? No. It's fabulous. It's a fabulous tool. Perplexity is a GPT, so it generates content for us. What it's great at is, first of all, analyzing a huge amount of content, and then also creating a result that includes references and sources. So it's great for writing research papers, for instance. We've been using it for students who were getting ready for the social studies exam, because there's an enormous amount of historical facts that you need to be familiar with in order to be prepared for the exam. You don't have to memorize them all, but you have to be able to make some sort of sense of them. So I'm going to open it up right here, and then I'm going to say, I'm first going to tell it who I am. I'm telling it that I'm getting ready for the GED social studies exam, and that's going to limit what it provides to me. It's just going to give me what relates to that exam. And then I'm going to say, please give me the top 100 key events in American history. And I want it to make a list of these key events that I need to learn about in order to do well on the exam. And so it made this list. It's referencing the actual test, because it's gone out on the internet and learned about what type of questions are typically on the exam. And it's categorized them by time period. They're in chronological order. And then right here, you can see next to some of the results, there are references that are hot links, and I could click on them, and then I would have even more references that I could use to study. This particular reference is a Quizlet deck that somebody put together that goes along with the social studies GED. Here we have a short course on study.com. And it goes all the way from colonial here period up to the present. And then we have extension resources here at the bottom that I could click on and learn even more about this topic. Now, one thing I could do at this point is right here, you'll see there's a copy tool. I can copy this whole list to the clipboard and then go over to Google Docs. And actually, let me demonstrate that. So I've copied it to the clipboard. And now I'm going over to Google Docs. And I open a blank document and I just paste it in. And that includes all of the links, and there's hot links. And so this is a great way for students to create a study guide for themselves that they can keep, they can edit, they can add notes to it. And then another feature that Perplexity has, scroll on down, is this voice mode. And let me just click on that. Perplexity, can you tell me more about the Civil War? And so you can see how you can interact with your list just by talking to it, and you could go back and forth and discuss particular topics that are on the list. And I just wanted to show one more thing before we all play with Perplexity. So here at RIRAL, we created because just making a list can be, you know, a little bit boring. We created a timeline, and so you can use your list to help inform your timeline. And so this would be a typical study material that students would create to get ready for the social studies test. And using Perplexity is how they know what belongs on this timeline.
And Mary, there's a question in the chat from Dale. This seems like a good time to ask it too. Can any of these be given a YouTube video, or in this case, Perplexity? Can Perplexity be given a YouTube video and understand and talk about that for students, or perhaps one of the other tools you're going to show us?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
several of the other tools, and we're
Right.
going to paste in a YouTube link into Notebook LM, which is Google's tool. But there are many AIs that can interpret, and in fact, at RIRAL we use an AI called Brisk. The instructors use it, not the students, and you can paste a YouTube video in there, and it will create text-dependent questions that go along with it, which is really cool and a great time saver. So, yes.
Very cool.
All right.
And wait, one more. And
Yep.
Angela asks, did AI help you create the timeline?
No, although you certainly could. I mean, you can use AI to create a video, to create images, to create. In fact, there is one specifically made for designing PowerPoint and Google presentations. But no, I did not use AI, and I didn't use AI to create this website either. I did it from scratch, old school. All right, so let's all click on Perplexity and see if you can open it up and just try it out. And if you don't want to use Perplexity, you can use ChatGPT in guest mode, and then you won't have to give any of your information.
And let me just, while people are starting to noodle, Carrie has written in the chat, I want to thank you for the tip to feed the RLA writing sample into ChatGPT and use the official scoring rubric.
Ooh. Interesting. That's a great tip.
Say again?
Lisa also said, what did you use to create the timeline?
Oh, Lisa, I missed you. Yes, Lisa's comment. What did you use to create the timeline then, if you didn't use AI?
Oh, it's just a Google slide. Just Google Slides.
Sorry, I missed you, Lisa. And then Carrie just chatted again. I just tried it and it was very informative. These tools are really helpful, really helpful.
So we'll spend just like 2 more minutes because we do want to stay on time. Was everybody able to log in, or is anybody having any trouble?
We have to log in.
Well, if you're going to use Perplexity, it's going to ask you
Okay.
who you are. Unless if you already have a Perplexity account, then it'll just pop right up.
Another question for you, Mary. Andrea asks, do you know if this is compatible with the Skills That Matter resource?
Ooh. I mean,
So,
it could be. You could certainly tell it about the skills that matter. And I know there's a guide to the skills that matter that you could feed into it and say, I would like
apple cider
activities that go along with these particular learning goals. I mean, you can also feed in the academic frameworks, you know, from RIDE, from DESE, and tell it to give you activities. And that's what Brisk is particularly good at that. Great, thank you.
I'm a little lost. Where am I supposed to log in?
So if you did you click on the link to Perplexity, which
Yeah,
is
and
right here?
I'm at the RIRAL website for Perplexity AI for GED prep.
Okay, so you click on that link that's at the bottom of the Perplexity page right here. Do you see where my cursor is? It's bold. That's a
Are-
hot link.
Are you on that page yet, though, Angela? Because if you go to the very home page of using AI for GED prep, you can see the tools that Mary is touring us in the top right corner of that screen.
Right. So
You could,
Perplexity is right up here. And then it'll take you to this page. And then you click on Perplexity.
can you find it, Angela?
Yeah, I am where her cursor is, where it says try using Perplexity.
Right. So click on Perplexity.
And
And
then,
then you'll get this. This is Perplexity right here. Do you see how it opened?
I'm there.
And okay, did it ask you to log in or anything? Maybe it
No.
won't. Okay, no problems. Then, so right here in the prompt box, so what we did is we asked it to create a list of the top 100 key events that students need to know for the social studies GED, but you could ask it to tell you pretty much anything about the social studies GED. Try a different prompt and see what it gives you.
Oh, now it's telling me lots of questions, asking me lots of questions. Yes.
Mary, a couple of other things in the chat for you, a couple
Sure.
comments. So Carrie is commenting that Perplexity seems a little bit better than Chat GPT. She didn't have to log in at all. Maria Jose, interesting how Perplexity has related questions with answers at the bottom
Yes.
of its response so you can delve deeper.
Yes, Perplexity is great for research, and I really like the way that it cites its sources. And if you're writing a research paper, you can ask it to create both a reference list and in-text citations, and it will do that for you, which is pretty incredible. All right, should we move on to Claude?
One more
Okay.
in the chat while you're moving on to Claude. I didn't have to log into Chat GPT either, but Perplexity got what I needed right away. And this is Carrie again. Instead, on GPT, I had to refine my search.
Yeah. So Perplexity is like a Swiss Army knife, right? I mean, it does, not Perplexity, ChatGPT is your Swiss Army knife. It does everything, but doing something very specific might not be its great strength. All right, so let's soldier on and let's go on to Claude. I chose Claude to go along with the RLA exam because it's just really fabulous at writing. It's my favorite AI to help me with writing, emails and papers and so forth. It's a large language model, meaning that's what it does. It studies human speech and text and then tries to replicate it. And so if you're trying to create a piece of writing that's got a specific tone, I think Claude is really the best for that. I'm going to, just like on the previous page, I'm going to click on the link right next to the name of the tool, and hopefully it will open right up. It did. It remembers me. And now I'm going to say again that I am preparing for, oops, let me see if I could spell. For the RLA exam, and I'm going to ask for a multiple choice question. And I'm going to ask it not to give me the answer because I want to give it the answer and have it correct it for me. Oh, no. You know what I should have said? So it's giving me a reading passage and it wants me to read the whole thing and then respond to the multiple choice question. What I want to tell it is that I want to focus on grammar and usage, not on reading comprehension. Okay, and so now it's given me a different multiple choice question, and it's asking me to read these 4 sentences and tell it which one has the correct grammar and punctuation. And then it's asking me right at the bottom, do you want me to create more questions? So I could have asked it if I decided, hey, I've got a half an hour to work on this. I could have asked it to create, 8 or 10 questions, and then I could have gone through and answered them, and it would have corrected them for me, and it will give me an explanation about why each one is right or wrong. So I'm going to just at random, I'm going to choose C. I'm hoping that I'm wrong because it will correct my answer. Right, and so it's telling me no, C is not correct. The correct answer is actually D, and it's explaining why all of the incorrect answers were incorrect and why the correct answer is correct. And then it's asking me, would you like another question just like this one? And I'll say, yes, please give me another. And so students can use this, just as a targeted tutor for them to work on, very specific skills. All right. So does anyone have any questions at this point, or should we all just try out Claude?
Was everybody able to, you did have to log into that one using maybe your Google account. Was everybody able to get into Claude?
I think we're all headed there. Are we all headed there now? Have we all
Sounds
opened
like it.
Claude?
Yeah, sounds like good.
Okay. Right. So notice how Claude is a little different than Perplexity, right? Because the purpose of it isn't so much research, it's writing and language. And you'll notice here on the left-hand side, the way it's saved the other instances when I've used it well, I've used it a lot, which is pretty amazing considering that I have the free version. All right, why don't we just give it one more minute? Great. All right, why don't we move on to ThetaWise unless anyone has any questions or comments about Claude? Any noticings? It's quite a bit different than Perplexity. No? All right, let's move on to ThetaWise. ThetaWise is geared towards mathematics. It's really a fantastic tool for explaining how to solve math problems. And it's also got a tutoring mode, which we will see. Again, I'm going to click right here on the bold and open it up. All right. And one of the things that I like about it is that I can feed pictures into it. You'll see right here. Oop, it's asking me to log in. I'm going to log in with Google. So students can take pictures of problems. If there's a problem on the whiteboard, they can take a picture with their phone. If they're working on GED.com or IXL or something, they can take a screen cap of what they see, and then they can upload that, and ThetaWise can have a look at it. So I'm going to choose to work in the Tutor Me mode. And in this mode, ThetaWise is not going to solve the problem for me right up front. It's going to ask me how I would solve the problem, and then it's going to step me through it one step at a time. I'm going to click here on images. I want to upload a file. So I made a screen cap of a math problem that I saw on GED.com earlier. And then I screen capped it, saved it, and now I'm uploading it and submitting it to ThetaWise. And now I'm going to say, how would I solve this problem? And I can zoom in and see, because I don't remember what the problem was. And it's about a painter rented a steamer at a certain time, returned it a few hours later, and he paid a total of $28.84. What was the rental cost per hour? And so it has parsed the image, it's OCR'd it and turned the image into text that it can actually read and interpret. And so it's now, close that, asking me what my first step would be to solve this problem. And so it's giving me this hint that my first step would be to figure out how many hours I had it rented for. And so I can just go through the problem step by step. And that's how I would learn to solve it. And I could even say, this is an area of mathematics I'm struggling with. Could you please create more problems very similar to this one and then help me solve them? Does anyone have any questions or comments about ThetaWise? All right, why don't we all click on the link and play around with it a little bit?
Couple fans off the bat. Angela says, I love it in the chat. And Lisa says, it's nice to have a math website.
It is. It's really good. It integrates with Desmos too, which is nice, and it does graphing.
I know. It's amazing. Yes, that's true. So the other day when Mary was walking me through some of this, I was clicking around on this particular one, and I was like, oh my gosh, you can make Desmos graphs, right? It integrates with Desmos, and then you can also add a table. Very cool features.
You can. And if you upgrade to the pro version, you can save all of your stuff. I mean, if you were taking like a college level class in mathematics, this would just be amazing. TutorMe is awesome. They rolled that out recently, and so they're letting everybody use it for free, but I'm not sure that will remain free. we'll see. I did hit my limit on this, I think when I was demoing it to you, Marie, and
Mhm.
so, you know, it resets every day. It gives you a certain amount. I know somebody said in the chat that they were trying to log in incognito. You might be able to pull that off. Let us know. I mean, if you can't, there's always Chat GPT, which you can use in guest mode,
Mhm.
and then you don't have to worry about logging in. But ThetaWise is geared towards mathematics, which means that it can do things that Chat GPT can't do.
And then my go-to trick when you have reached your limit is I have 3 different accounts. I probably have more. So I just go to a different account
Yes.
and open it up in a different account. And then you have a full docket of new, but you know, there's a lot of tricks, right?
There
If you
are.
run if you run up against your limit.
There are. All right, why don't we just give that one more minute and then we're gonna move on to Notebook. This would also be great to use with an actual human tutor as well, and you could share your screen and go back and forth. Great. Does anyone have any last questions or comments about ThetaWise?
Couple comments in the chat. Dale
Okay.
says, what is also nice is a number of these are also phone apps. A number of students I have worked with, a cell phone is their primary way to do anything online.
Yeah.
And Colleen comments, I just tried asking it some math questions in Spanish,
Oop.
and it seems to work quite well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to make a generalization and say that most of these AIs can are multilingual and that you can just seamlessly go back and forth because they're computers. So it's no problem for them. All right, so let's come back together and we'll just click on our last tool up here. This is Google Notebook LM. LM stands for language model. And the other tools we used were also chatbots and work with large language models. But this one is particularly powerful. This is one of Google's showcase tools. It can handle a wide variety of content, including videos we're going to see, and also large PDFs. And so I've been feeding it whole books to interpret. It's part of Google Workspace, so it is free for you to use, and it's in your Google, mixed in with your Google apps. I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to create a new notebook. And this is just as if, you know, you would have one of those old composition books, only it's creating the actual notes for you. And so the first thing I'm going to give it is, well, let's see what I'm going to give it. I'm actually going to close that panel and go over here. First, I'm going to give it a title. We're now working on science, so I'll call it Science GED. And then I'm going to choose a file to add. I'm going to scroll down and it will give me different files that I can add. So if the instructor had put a Google slide deck on Google Classroom, the student could just include that slide deck as one of their resources. But I'm going to add this GED Science YouTube video. So I'm going to just Control C, which is just going to copy this address up in the address bar. And then back here, I'll click on YouTube and I'll paste that URL in. And you can see already it started creating a summary in this middle chat panel. I'm going to go back to our website because I preloaded some links here. This is McGraw-Hill's prep for the GED Science. It's a PDF. It's 255 pages, but that won't slow down Google. I'll just copy it and add it. Go to the website since it's online. And you can see it's spinning, so it's sorting through all of that text. And then I'll just add the GED study guide to the science exam. And so it's synthesizing all of these different resources. You can add as many as, I believe, 50 different sources. And again, it handles large amounts of data, so you could easily feed in whole books if you had them in electronic format, or you can use this this Discover tab to search for other sources that relate to this. I'll search for the Science GED exam. Study. And it's using Google to search. And it found a whole bunch, this whole long list. And so I'll just 10 different sources. I'll just click on import, and now they're all being added to my sources list. And here in the middle, I've got the beginning summary of my sources, and I can interact with, this is Gemini, which is Google's AI. I can interact with Gemini Google Notebook, and I can ask it anything I want. I'm going to ask, what are the most important topics on this exam? And now it's making a list. And while it's thinking about that, over here in the right-hand panel is Studio. And so we've got, oh, and it's already got me an answer. And it's broken down the exam into different topic areas. And then it's got sources I can click on to expand upon. And if I tell it that I liked this response, that tells it that it's on the right track. I can also save this response as a note. So as if you would have a sticky note in your notebook, and that'll be over here in Studio. Here are my notes down here. Now, I can create a briefing doc, which it can create mind maps. Yes, the mind maps are awesome. And it can also create a podcast. I just clicked on generate. It's going to create a podcast audio file with 2 hosts who discuss the resources that I've added in here. And then you can listen to that anytime on your phone or what have you. I will click on timeline. See what that gives me. So these are all of the people and topics in science that things I should know in chronological order. So creating a podcast.
This is a very comprehensive tool. Like there
It's
isn't much that you can't do with this tool.
That's true. This is the most robust of all of the tools that we looked at. I mean, they call it an AI, but it's really more of a program than just an AI. And I did put a 15-minute video guide to using it under my resources on the first page, because this is the most in depth of all of the tools that we're looking at.
While it's still going a little bit, couple other things in the chat. Dale did mention that he likes that it's integrated with Google Apps and Docs. Yes, indeed. And Andrea asked, will we see any RIDE funded accounts for the options that include the higher level resources, a training tool? And this stems from the recent survey. So these particular tools are not on the list of RIDE purchase software, and that's largely because these have free versions. So RIDE really doesn't pay for upgraded versions of things. And you're not off topic, asking that, Andrea. Yeah. But no, this is probably, the AI tools are not on the list of things that RIDE would end up purchasing.
I think it's fair to say, though, that AI is built into a lot of the stuff that we do already use. I mean, we saw earlier that AI is in Quizlet, for instance. It's, you know, it is built into all the Google apps. Great. Let's see if our Dale, do you have a question?
Yeah, just one quick one. When it comes to using this program, does it have the ability to create images like diagrams? For instance, there's a lot of text here, it's very text heavy, and if I want to give someone something, does it have the ability to make something that's a bit more aesthetically, not just pleasing, but maybe like easy if you're trying to make something to give people that's a little easier for them to follow?
It does. It creates a mind map, although weirdly it didn't give me that option. But I mean, if you have somebody who's a visual learner, there are AI tools that are geared specifically towards creating charts and graphs and
Mhm.
images. And in fact, we were at the MCAE conference last week, and there was some ESL instructors who using AI to create images as jumping off points for lessons in speaking and listening for their students, and it was really amazing. So they weren't using text at all. So there's a ton of AI, and there were whole categories in the AI Explorer just for AIs that will create images based on a text prompt. The middle section has the mind map, I know, but it's let me just play the podcast for a second here.
We can't hear it though.
You don't hear it.
No. So why is
Interesting.
that?
Probably when
see.
you shared your screen, Mary, you had to check the box, share my sound as well.
Yes.
Maybe if you stop sharing and share again, but make
I
sure that
just
you
clicked
click
it. I just
Okay, cool,
clicked it.
cool.
Let's see. Do you hear it now?
No. Is the sound down? Well, no, because we can hear you, so that makes no sense. It is cool. Hopefully, I mean,
It is cool. So, I mean, people can do
Yeah.
this. You can do this on your own. I did click share sound, but it's not being my friend. So,
I-
but you could try it on your own. And
I have one question.
yes,
Is all of this with the goal that you want all this material in here so that they can prepare you like a practice test? Is that the goal?
well, they're getting ready for the actual exam,
Mhm.
so they're creating a study guide for themselves.
Okay.
So it kind of helps them take ownership of preparing for the test. So they can use materials that their instructor gives them in the classes that they take, and also materials that they find on their own out internet and
So
just
it's
it's a place.
more a library where everything is.
Yes, yes. It's them curating resources that help them study, but it also analyzes the resources and, synthesizes them so they're a little bit more bite-sized.
So where is that analyzed? Let's say they analyzed a particular topic. Where would you find that, or how would you?
Right here in this center panel. So
Okay.
like some of these resources that I fed into it here on the left-hand side are several hundred pages long, right? But here in the middle, we just have this short
I see.
summary.
Mhm.
Oh, and here's mind map. Let me create the mind map. And then also I love the audio overview too. I think it's really nice to be able to go from text to audio, just to mix things up a bit, if nothing else. So we only have a couple of minutes left. Does anyone else have any comments or questions?
It seems to me that nobody has the excuse to fail any exam ever again.
That's true. And it did create our mind map, so you can see here. So somebody was asking for the visual learners, does it create a chart or a graph? It does. And here you can see that you can click on. So it included some meta information about how do I do well on this test, but it's also got subcategories about the different topics on the exam.
Wow.
And then you can actually click on these topics and it will summarize that topic for you. And then you can read specifically about that topic.
And we could also ask you to generate questions, practice questions on this information as well.
So we did create some practice questions in Claude. You can create practice questions with any of these things, any of these tools. But if you're coming at this from the point of view of being the instructor and you want to create text-dependent questions, I would use Brisk. I mean, we all at RIRAL love Brisk. It's so fantastic. You can give it a YouTube video, you can give it a PDF, whatever you got, and just say, I would like 10 or 20 text-dependent questions or whatever. And we've created Google Forms for quizzes and all kinds of things.
Mm.
That's Brisk AI.
Yes.
I just put it in the chat again.
I must say, since we're at the end, thanks for sharing, Mary, because a lot of folks are scared of AI, I guess. I don't know why,
Mhm.
because once I got a feel for Chat GPT, I was running with it. So thanks for actually sharing how it can be useful. I get why some are as educators, like we're really fearful of what it could do in terms of the quality of work that students do, but I feel like if we put things in place, it can also make them more independent learners as well, right? So
Right.
thanks so much for sharing this. This is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I
And
think the student,
age is what Lisa says, some of us are older. Age is just a number.
I'm older.
So I did put a link to the evaluation for this workshop in the chat. If you would be so kind, your responses are very valuable to us. This workshop is being recorded. Mary shared a lot of material and a lot of tools, so no worries. You will have the information in the chat. You will have the video to also review, and she can walk you through some of these tools again so that you can remember.
And the
Yeah.
the website will always be up, so you can always go there, use it, bookmark it, send me an email and have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you to everybody who showed up today.
Thank you for an absolutely wonderful workshop, Mary. Thank you all for sharing a portion of your afternoon with us. We really appreciate it. And yeah, reach out to Mary, okay? She's here to help. She's got a lot of expertise in using AI and digital literacy, so don't be shy. Thanks, everyone. Everybody have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. Thanks for coming.